life seems strange, but you gotta keep your aim. Stay focused on the game, don't quit. Quitters never win, winning all begins when you begin to believe in yourself again. Yeah, ready, fire, aim, gotta get that. Negativity in my life, gotta get that.
And we are back, another episode of Eduardo Live, Empowering Monday. And today I have a very special guest with me, Nicole P Jones. It just says Nicole on your label, but it's Nicole P Jones, actually. I know her name very well, I would say, because we have some history, I would tell you.
You know, the fact that you care and love this voice so much and that you're trying to get guidance and better understanding. At the end of the day, sometimes we have to say, you know, they're only 6, they're only 7, they're only 5. They're not adults. They're not teenagers yet. But I do believe it's important to make sure we nip it in the bud as a child, but also understand that some of the outbreaks or tantrums or whatever are actually kind of common. And the more I talk to people, the more I'm starting to learn that I'm not in this little boat by myself, you know, and our children will be okay. And they're amazing in our eyes, but they're going to continue to be amazing in other people's eyes. I just know it, but I do too share that fear of sometimes he erupts and I'm like, what? Like I hope he does not do this in front. Like, I mean, I have like a trigger in a different way too. Like I can get really upset about him being so like mad or whatever. But then I get really sad because I'm like, I hope that this is just a growing phase that we're going through. Because, you know, I'm like, does he need to start talking to someone? And he just can't talk to, like, you know, so it's I just want to say, I feel you. I feel you. And really respect the fact that you share that.
Frank, could you please present yourself to Rob, and then Rob, you back to Frank, please.
Well, yeah, definitely. Thank you, Eduardo, for hosting us and on this special day of Martin Luther King's holiday and birthday. One thing I know is Rob and I connected on LinkedIn, as you and I did, Eduardo, but you know, I've been following his inspirational messages, and I am honored to be on today to inspire folks of truth.
Oh, man. It is an honor, brother. It's an honor and a pleasure to me. Like Eduardo, man, everybody that he is inspired by is inspiring. And it's exactly with you, Frank. And you're authentic. Your message is truth. And we need more of it. So I'm always excited to even hear what comes out of the mouth of people who are walking that walk. So this is going to be a good conversation. And of course, Martin Luther King Jr. I mean, my wife and I were just talking today about how powerful his life is, that everyone I've ever talked to from anywhere on the globe knows who he is. Yeah. That's how great of an impact he had on this world. So this is going to be a good conversation.
So what we're going to do is that we're going to go through history, actually, memory lane.
Back down memory lane.
Yeah. We're going to go backward. Yeah, like Rob has amazing songs. So we're going to go through some images until like before that famous speech, right? Like I Have a Dream.
Yeah.
And like to analyze like what was it before, you know? And that's something I have hard time because a lot of people I had talked to, they don't really understand history, I would say, like what happened actually. Mm-hmm. And I will talk a little bit more about that when we come to a special picture. Let's start here. First picture. It says, "No colored allowed," by order of manager, Broadway Theater, Knoxville, Tennessee, May 26, 1925. Who wants to start?
Well, I'll start, and then Rob could elaborate on what I know back in El Paso. I am not from El Paso, but my wife's dad grew up in the El Paso area, and during that era, there was also a sign that read, "No Mexicans, no Negroes, no dogs allowed." And one thing that I know is in terms of allyship, brown and black, we are very much under attack. And today, we have a COVID vaccine, but we need a vaccine for racism. And so looking at this sign stemming back from the 20s, I say we're going into the roaring 20s of 2021. And let's do it, man. Let's try to cure racism.
I love that. Roaring 2021. That's good. That's good, Frank. This is a good reminder too for folks, because 2020 and everything that has happened in that year woke a lot of people up. The social injustice has taken the front page, and systemic racism has been around obviously since before 1925, but there was an awakening in this in 2020. I believe this is a good sign to show us even more about where we come from, what has been done. The more we understand, that's when we level up our understanding, that's when we can begin to come up with solutions. And so to think that, we're going to have a society that was based off a philosophy where you segmented people off the color of their skin, you don't think that's going to trickle down throughout the years? And we wonder why people are the way they are. So this is a good conversation, because I'm not bitter about it. We get better about it.
So can I hand you over? Ladies and gentlemen, it's EduardoX, and of course, with Joe Foster, founder of Reebok.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you, Steve Foster and Maxwell. This was amazing. Again, amazing, I would say. Mr. Joe Foster, the co-founder of Reebok, shares the same name as his grandfather, the founder of G.V. Foster and Sons, and pioneer of spiked running shoes. Joe is also the author of Shoemaker, the untold story of the British family firm that became a global brand, and also founding member of our amazing network, One Golden Nugget. Welcome to Eduardo's Lounge. What was the most difficult moment in your career, and how did you handle it? And what did you learn from that experience?
I mean, I enjoyed business, and I enjoyed Reebok. We were in love with Reebok, and certainly that was my life. Now, when you say what was the most difficult time, there were many. We had a lot of difficult times. But when you're together, Jeff and myself, we looked at difficult decisions as where can we get an advantage? We lost our initial name, Mercury, and we had to find another one. And we found a better name. We found Reebok. We had a letter from Adidas after being 4 years in the business. And Adidas thought that our silhouette of two stripes and a T-bar infringed the 3 stripes. We were delighted. All of a sudden, the biggest sports brand in the world had recognized us. Okay, they didn't like what we were doing, but that was brilliant. We had made our mark. So we changed our silhouette. And the thing is that there were so many problems. A distributor, I had a distributor for the UK, so I could look at the rest of the world, and they went out of business, owing a lot of money. And that was a big problem. But we just get the shoes back. Let's sell the shoes a different way. So really, these downsides are problems. And every problem really is a lesson. And not only do you learn from that, you learn how to turn that problem into an advantage. So you have to leap out of it. What was the biggest one? Possibly when we just got to America. I had just got the agreement on the one that was to really make Reebok really big. And my brother, unfortunately, he contracted cancer and he died. So I had lost my partner. There was good for that and there was bad for that. Because we were 50-50, all of a sudden I was 100%. And so my decision then counted. I didn't have to. Jeff was no problem, but we had wives and we had 4 people, always a discussion. Why are you doing this? Why are you going to America? Yeah, these were things that are difficult to sort of work with when you have a family. All of a sudden, that was gone because Jeff had died. The tragedy. I just wish he was here again today. But that tragedy helped in many ways take the company, because I made decisions. And fortunately, they worked. But there were risks, there were gambles. The family didn't like gambling. The family didn't like that risk. But that freed me to do it. And we ended up with Reebok. I just would love him to be here today to see where we ended. We ended as the #1 global brand. But, 31 years from starting to leaving the business, you don't go through 31 years every day being a great day. Lots of days are difficult. Lots of things challenge you. But I think it's how you face that challenge and how you really sort of build from that challenge. It makes you stronger. And I think that all those many challenges, that's what you are. As an entrepreneur, as a person with vision, you have to overcome. And you have to look at them as a lesson. And that for me is really the big thing.
I can go. So first, thank you for messaging and saying that, let's hop on to that call, because I think it's amazing to just connect. Okay. And I got to see the faces of people who I've seen you tag so many times, like Erica and I've seen you, nearly tagged on many posts, and I'm like, okay, I can now attach a face to it, which I'll remember. So thank you. And I think that is what I felt I wanted to add, when Rob was saying as well, is we all vibrate at a certain level, and depending on how we all think, I think we end up connecting with each other where we feel that instant connection. And I think that is the best way law of attraction works. You attract depending on where you're vibrating at, what level are you vibrating at, and how much your frequency is increasing depending on your thoughts. So that's what law of attraction for me is. And it actually comes down to a very simple line, which I always say, and you've probably heard me say that a lot of times. I have learned that if we all are children of this universe and we have been born in this universe, which means I'm a child of this universe, then don't I deserve everything that is abundance of this universe? That's what we get hereditary from our parents, right? Yeah. So if I'm the child of the universe, I deserve all the abundance that is there in this universe, everything that is good and I can attract. And for that, all I have to do is prove myself. Like as a child, we have to prove ourselves to our parents at times, that I can do this, I'm capable of handling it. And that's all law of attraction for me is. It's like everything in this universe does belong to me. All I have to do is I have to just keep doing what I'm supposed to so that I get what I work for. So yeah, that's all I wanted to add. So thank you, Eduardo, for.
That's great. That is great.
Yeah, thank you, Rob.
We're on air with my dear friend Enrique Gonzales, like the guru of leadership on LinkedIn. A friend, what can I say? My sensei of leadership, who I always talk to when I feel lost with leadership. I go to Enrique Acosta. Enrique, tell us, how did it start? How come that you are so passionate about leadership? Tell us the story. Tell us from the beginning to where you are today.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on the show, Eduardo. I really appreciate it. I know we've talked about collaborating for a little bit, and I'm so happy that it's coming to fruition. I'm Enrique Acosta Gonzales, everybody. And, frankly, and just to be blunt, it started because I fell under poor leadership early on in my career in the Navy. And that scarred hard. There was a lot of, putting down, a lot of just, poor management, poor leadership. And that propelled me on the journey that I'm in now. I spent 26 years in the military. I was fortunate and blessed enough to get to the highest rank that I could. And in all those years, I developed myself along with great mentors, because although it was poor leadership in the beginning, I won't say that there were no people around me that had good leadership, but they were external, right? So they almost came to my rescue, if you will. But thankfully for them, and a lot of good mentors and a lot of great books, including the Webster's Dictionary, which I miss. It allowed me to get on this journey to ensure that no one else, at least in my world, in my little sphere of influence, would ever come in contact with poor leadership. I knew how much it really hurt me early on, and I never wanted to see another sailor fall under that ever again. So I did my 26 years, and I decided that leadership was my life, and it really is. It's my passion. I love it. I could do it, my eyes closed, and I could do it forever. So I created Triad Leadership Solutions, which focuses primarily on college graduates that are going into their first year of leadership, or established leaders that are just struggling. They just can't get effective. They can't get efficient. And they don't want to tell anybody at the office, right? Although everybody knows. Let me just tell everybody out there that's struggling as a leader, people know. So I work with them, and I get them where they need to be. It's funny. There's this slogan, right? And you've seen it, right? I take you from success with the K, and make it success. So I have a play on words on that, but there's little things that pop up in people's leadership styles and their tenures that really are like a wrench in the mix, and they just can't get past it. And so I help folks to get past those areas and make them the best leader they can be.
Yeah. So, and the thing was that I realized I had to forgive all these people that done me harm, and for like they did me harm, but it was like very little against what other people did me like harm, like grown-ups.
Mm-hmm.
They really hurted me. And that was so hard but I realized, and that what happened was that forgiving them was the easiest part, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That was so easy to forgive them, because I realized that they made the man I am today. That believe in humanity, that is humble and try to have compassion with everybody. They built that man, and maybe I would have been like them if all this didn't happen, right? I just went along with all the hate and hating with everybody else, but I was the hated one, So forgiving them was very easy, but forgiving myself for the wrongs I did in life, that was very hard. That was very, very hard. And that still today, I can like have like this kind of feeling, like, why did I do that in that situation, And forgiving them, it actually went in a second. When that forgiveness came to me for all the people that done me wrong, it doesn't matter what they did to me.
Mm-hmm.
It opened my heart, like totally. I could say that was the biggest relief I think I had in my life to this day, to forgive all the people that done me wrong in life.
Yes. Well, forgiveness is like a medicine. It heals you, really. And as you said, forgiving other people is easier than forgiving ourselves all the time, every time. Because why? Because when we feel like we are at a moment where it requires some forgiving, it means that we disappointed ourselves. We are disappointed in myself. So how can I do that? How did I be able to do that? Me. So I'm disappointed in myself. And that's why it gets so harder to forgive ourselves. But without forgiving yourself, you cannot proceed with your life. You get stuck. And as soon as you can get through it, you can forgive yourself, then all the doors open, because you have a clean slate in front of you. You cleansed your past and you're ready to move on. So that's why it's so important.
You know how I could forgive myself, actually? By promising myself to not do these wrongs again, that is what I did. You know, I promised myself I'm a better man today. I'm more mature. You know, like a lot of the errors that I did in my life, I was like quite young. I was like an immature man, you could say, that had a heart that was very like hateful against society because of all the wrongs that happened to me. But I realized that I'm an intelligent man. I can't have all these grudges against because I changed. I took the possibilities. I went to university. I built an awesome career, or I wouldn't even define it as a career. I built the life that I wanted to have, and that is the life that I live today. So why should I have all this animosity to like all the things that I did wrong in life before, when I was an immature man or a child? Maybe also things that I did as a child that like I regret, right?
Yes.
But what I did is that I came to the conclusion that I can't change that. And if I ever like hurt somebody in my life, is like, if you're listening, I can tell you I'm truly sorry. Like how can I say, I really like I hope I wouldn't like done what I did, you know, like, and I'm sorry that I did, but I can't change that. Like I hope I could take that back. If I could, I would. That now I'm speaking from my heart, you know. But I have to move on. Like I have 2 children. I have like to live life. I can't live in that anymore. So that is what I did actually, to forgive myself. I promised myself, don't do these things again, you know, that you regret. You need to move forward, Eduardo.
Yeah, that's the best thing you can do anyway. That's the best thing. I mean, because especially for the things that you did when you are younger, when you were not wise as you are today. Actually, we need to thank everything we experienced for teaching us, because we learn from them. And today, who we are is exactly the result of what we have experienced, what we went through. So when we see that from this point of view, then really negative things even turn out to be a teacher for us. So then we see the positive side of that negative thing that made us who we are today. So that's why you did the right thing. You faced everything that you thought you need to forgive, and you did, and you forgave yourself, and that because of that you are who you are today.
Yeah. Make the change, rearrange, and life seems strange, but you gotta keep your aim, stay focused on the game, don't quit. Quitters never win, winning all begins when you begin to believe in yourself again. Yeah, ready, fire, aim, gotta get that negativity in my life, gotta